Okay, I've only got about 10 to 15 minutes left. It's my bad memory card. I'm going to get that fixed up next when my next check from Social Security comes in. Okay. Edom, which no longer exists, it would be in the country of Jordan, comes from a Christian country. The Jewish people will have the same experience as the Israelites of having a prophet in their midst, somebody who can converse with God, friend to friend, face to face. He just takes his power, turns my head, and says, "This is what I will be speaking to you today." It can be anywhere in here, but it's almost always about 10 feet up, 10 feet away, maybe 15, up high, and to my right. The Spirit of God is always to my left, like right here. He's my best friend. That's who he is. I don't have many. Actually, he may be the only friend I got. So he qualifies. Prophet in their midst, who is the visible representations of the presence of God and the angel of his presence. It's the angel of his presence. Wherever God's presence is, the angel is. And he's the Holy Spirit. Well, wherever God is, again, his Spirit is. It all ties together so easy. In Malachi 3, God makes it clear that he knows many will not feed, hear, and revere him, and that many will not even, when he has forgiven the sins of the Jewish people and remembers them no more. Many of the Jewish people do not believe in God, and many do not practice Judaism, and many will not be able to just believe that this is really happening. But God said this is what he's going to do. Jesus told us when he was coming back 5 different times, 5 different ways within his generation. Well, his generation is gone. You know, when you're born, everybody alive at that moment is your generation. When they're all dead, your generation is over. Okay, you high priest, you shall see me. You members of my 12, you shall see me return. You, the people of Caesarea, those amongst you who will be alive when I return. And my favorite, the Revelation, the book of Revelation. That's such garbage. Sorry. The 7th verse of the 1st chapter. And mind you, this guy who's writing it, I think his name's Paul. They don't know if it's the Paul who wrote so much of the New Testament. Like 60% of it. But it says Jesus is talking through an angel. It's like they get some of these things I'm talking about, and the Jewish, the sages and rabbis never picked up on it. But Jesus, through this spirit or angel, I'm not sure which it was, I can't remember now, I haven't looked at it in quite a while, says, "Those who pierce me with the spear shall see me return." Well, that's when he was crucified and they stabbed him with spears to make sure he was dead. Well, those people are dead. He didn't come back. They didn't see him return. Caesarea, dead. The disciples, all 12, dead. The high priest, dead. Generations gone. He's not coming back. However, God says when the land blooms again after desolation, cities restored, Jerusalem rebuilt, I'm coming back. I'm going to make a new covenant. I'm going to put my temple amongst you. This is the covenant of friendship you find in Ezekiel. And you'll never be defeated and dispersed again. You'll no longer be the taunts of nations. The nations will know that I am still with Israel. That's it. That's your messianic era. You know, you don't like it? Tough. That's what it's going to be. Because that's what God says it is. Now you tell me that's the messianic era you hear about. There's no pain, extraordinarily long lives, the world will all be together to worship the God of Israel. that will be the purpose of mankind. It's just an old fool rambling. It's what it is. Ch.11, 2 chapters in the Mishnah Torah on the laws of Ch.11. God calls him, my servant David, a shepherd, a teacher, and of course, I teach these books. Anybody wants to get in the scroll of remembrance that's a rabbi, you're going to have to go to your flock and straighten Judaism out for me, as I'm doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Most people out there aren't listening to me. I've got, 16,000 views the last 28 days, which is great. 750 to 1,000 a day. But that's counting all 50 videos. That's not one video. It's not like some of these other people who are really popular. But, it'll happen. When you go from ashes to riches, there's a journey. And this is a good part of it. And this is the kind of thing I enjoy, a challenge. And if you read my book, you'll see that. That my autobiographer, God, dictated. I said, oh, that's good. I like the way you're putting this together. I'm not a writer. I wasn't a religious person until God talked to me. And even then, I'm not religious. It's not like we go to a synagogue every Saturday or celebrate Shabbat. By and large, he just has me doing stuff like this. I'm the servant. He says, look, you can't pray to me. You can't worship me. I said, that part you don't have to worry about. That's just far from me. You're not going to get much worship out of me. And I know better than to ask you for anything. Yeah, I don't have self-will. I just kind of go along with, they'll say something like, you think you're going to watch that ball game tomorrow? I said, I'll know when I know. I don't need to think about it right now. Either I do or I don't. I shall endure, God. It's kind of how our conversations go sometimes. Okay. Almost done. In a bit of a hurry. The amendment in Malachi 3, verse 22. Be mindful of the teaching of my servant Moses, whom I charged and ordered with laws and rules for all Israel, rather than strict compliance. That and the fact that sin forgiveness is hooked into it is the only difference in the original covenant, and it's also why he made sure the remnant, all of the exiles of all 13 tribes came back, and as Ezra said, they gathered as one man. And today, that can't happen. You can't draw every Jew together and be the man Israel, but you can still be a holy seed, and whoever works on that temple, anything to do with it, including raising funds, buying property. Oh, and let me add this. I only got another paragraph to go. The Temple Mount. David took a census and it angered God. And God put him to 3 tests. He failed. He selected an option that did not work out and was not well. And he went, he told God he was sorry. And for restitution, he went and bought that Temple Mount, that land. It was a thresher or something. I don't know what it was. But he went and bought it. That's why the Temple Mount is so important. And it's really the only reason. Just because there was a temple there before doesn't really mean that much. But David did buy it. Well, here's the thing. I'm the twig of the shoot, of the stump of Jesse. Okay? Quite literally, I am on the ancestral tree of King David. I'm a lawyer. I was a lawyer. God had me stop practicing the first 2 weeks. He said, you're not practicing law again. I told him, I said, what am I going to do about money? He said, you're not going to have any. And he kind of laughed. I think it was so funny. No, I haven't practiced law since. I can't practice now. My license is terminated. They lapsed. Let me finish this up. Oh, yeah. Power of attorney, stuff like that. We conveyed this land to Keith Ellis McCarty as as agent, attorney in fact, for who's ever buying it. But you get a little bit of David in there. And I'm just a twig anyway. I'm so far removed from David. There's no resemblance. There's no, I'm not going to go out and fight Goliath or anything like that. So, the covenant is a metaphor with a degree of hyperbole. God announcing a new, less strict covenant, and says that all of the Jewish people will heed him, for he will forgive their iniquities and remember their sins no more. This is what you would expect if your God forgives all your sins. That you'll heed him. Okay? But the fact is, in Malachi 3, he says, I know better. But that's just how I wrote it. That's the way it should be. That's exactly how he says it. He makes it clear he knows it will not. No more than he believed the Israelites would become a sinless people and not break the covenant. Not disobey it. They did, but he married them anyway. God knows what people do. He knows why they did it. He's God. Did you know what he said to me one time? He said, Keith, I created emotion. He can change my emotions. He can put me into a despair and depression that's so awful, and then just lift it. I mean, he utter control of me, and they're inside me. I'm just like this, almost like a puppet sometimes. They had me say what they would have me say, but it's always with my personality in mind. I still sound like me. I still may, I forget things just like me. Very forgetful person. Very forgetful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'm going to have to put it as 2 parts. I still haven't fixed my movie maker. For some reason, it's not taking my videos. These are my videos, my memory card. Because normally I would join them. You got 30 minutes and now you got another 10 or so, 40 minutes. But I don't know how hard it is to find a 15-minute video, but I'll check it out someday. But that's how I'm redoing he had me re-download and re-upload my 50 videos, which covers 50 chapters of Isaiah 53 and the day of the Lord, and a few from the life of God's righteous servant of Moshe of Isaiah 11 and 53. And there's a few on Jesus, none of which are complimentary, I assure you. Just to see some of the communist Christians come out, they're just a gas. And that's how you get him. That's how we take God's wrath to him. You got to recognize me and lift me up, which means you got to go study. Now, it's great. You get my ad-libs, and I'm reading from the book. But sometimes in a quiet place, just reading the book is better for you. And just knowing these are God's new words. He actually did come back. This guy, nobody could know all this. Nobody has ever known it before. How does he just appear? And with the story he's got, he's the only man who could ever satisfy Isaiah 53:10 and afflicted by God. Jesus wasn't afflicted by, Israel wasn't afflicted by God. And affliction by God in antiquity meant you were born blind, lame, crippled, or disfigured. That's certainly not Jesus Christ. God chose to crush him with disease. They changed the disease to sickness, but what you can't change is verse 12 where it says he was exposed to death. So there's a pretty severe sickness. With me, of course, cancer. And familiar with, because cancer comes in earlier. But, I had skin cancer. It wasn't anything. But the colon cancer was brutal. And lung cancer, I really never felt the effects of it. It's like he put it into my lungs before a time when he knew they were going to x-ray my lungs. And as soon as we went over them and they put my file up, he removed it. I mean, I didn't even cough. I didn't have trouble breathing, nothing. But now the colon cancer, I suffered like a dog because I didn't have health insurance and I didn't know what it was. And it was just a pain in my belly You know, it had ruptured. I was bleeding internally. And for 3 months, until finally I was laying on the floor of this dingy apartment of a friend who traveled, dying. I wasn't going to make it another hour or two. I could not get up. I couldn't go for help. I could do nothing. The phone rang. My mom said, "Key, turn on the TV." It was the planes hitting New York. And then I saw all these relatives, just how tore up they were at losing loved ones. And it hit me for the first time. This is going to kill my children. You know, we all love each other very much. I said, this is going to kill them. To know that they just came in here and my body was here and I just let myself die. So I called my dad and I said, "Dad, you got to pay for a colonoscopy. It's got to be something in my intestines." And it was an 8-inch tumor. I came out of that colostomy and the doctor says, "I couldn't get past this." And he shows me this picture of the intestine with this horrible purple blockage. And I just said, "Thanks." I said, what does that mean? I didn't know. I've been so naive my whole life. Anyway, that's it for 11. We'll be picking up with 12. And this is a good one, but you got to put your thinking cap on. This is a good one. This is a real hit at the New Testament. And it's called Divine Inspiration of Prophecy Fulfilled. Or so they say. It's a good one. They're all good. They're all good. Wait till I get to the 53. There's 4 53s, chapters on Isaiah 53. There's one where you see Rashi's commentary, verse by verse, all 12 verses, and the 3 verses of Isaiah 52. We got Tovia Singer of Outrage Judaism in there with his infamous Isaiah 53. Yeah, we're going to publish it. Verse 10. And we got, Jews for Judaism. They better get busy. You think God's going to know when they have heard of this and when it is sufficient for them to look into it. You just tell them God has a sharp, keen eye on them and wants to see how they react, test their belief. He loves testing people. And he likes giving people the business, as we say in Texas. But anyway, that'll be fun to get to. This is going to take 2 hours to download and upload.